Doug, a report from ESPN says that wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. will sign a deal with the Los Angeles Rams. There was a report from the NFL Network just a few minutes ago that OBJ was deciding between the Packers and Rams, but ESPN says it went a step further that Odell Beckham Jr. will be heading to Hollywood and signing with the Rams.
Well, it long been, so we're all wrong, by the way, just like we'll admit it. I mean, we didn't really know, but we were all wrong. So, but if we look back, you go back kind of 2 years ago when there was first talk of him being unhappy in Cleveland, and he lived and trained out here in the offseason. There was a lot of talk of him wanting to get to one of the L.A. teams, and the Chargers have never shown any interest. There were thoughts that maybe the Niners and more likely the Rams. And so it makes sense, right? They're clearly going all in. I do think it's funny when they use the what's John Malkovich's character in Rounders when he goes all in? All in. Right? Yeah, Teddy KGB, he lost that hand, right? Remember, he lost the hand. But he won the first one when he's cheating. The second one when he couldn't, he wasn't. Yeah.
I don't get it.
You don't get
the
what?
Rams part of not the movie line, but the Rams don't need Odell Beckham Jr.
Doesn't cost him that much. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if it cost him 2 cents. I mean, you've got Cooper Kupp, you've got Robert Woods, you've got Van Jefferson who's taken that next step, you've got Tyler Higbee, you've got, the last thing that I think that they would need is to figure out a way to get somebody else the football.
Well, D-Jax left, and I'm sure he left because he didn't get the ball. And maybe maybe they made the decision like, we like to run the football, but we just can't. And this is a guy that can make plays. My guess is that most of these teams are just like, look, it's a minimum deal. If it doesn't work, we cut him loose. No big deal.
Right? I only like the move if it's to keep him away from Green Bay. Like that would be the all right.
I like that. That's a great thought. At least Green Bay doesn't get him.
Yeah.
At least Green Bay doesn't get him.
Mike Harmon on our fantasy podcast always says, I'd rather have a guy on my bench than in someone else's starting lineup going off for a big game.
Yes, the problem is if it's Odell Beckham Jr. and he's not getting the ball and he's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, true.
Right?
Yep. No, that's why I think it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But
no, it was why that we had all these logic with other things. You're like, well, Green Bay, they have guys, but they need a clear number two, and if he's right and he's you got Aaron Rodgers, when the play breaks down, it does become kind of freelance city. And then, you kind of look around, you're like, well, New England clearly needs a number one wide receiver. New Orleans made sense because it's home. Kansas City made sense because, they throw it all the time. And I guess it made sense. I didn't think it made Kansas City that much better. And I'm with you if you say, I don't think it makes the Rams that much better. Right? Like, look, the Rams, they got punked this weekend. They got punked. They could not protect Matt Stafford at all. The Tennessee Titans came in, and they're an offense built around Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's out, and they got mollywopped. They got kicked, and it was just they couldn't. And so I don't know. OBJ's not going to stand in and block, and maybe you go like, well, they'll go empty and get rid of it quickly. Like, that's not actually how they play. So I'm with you, but I also think that they're one of those. The Rams organization, they like the names. They just do. I didn't say it wins you football games, I'm just saying they like the names. Oh, a name? Well, I like that. They're like the guy who goes into Nordstrom's, like, even if it's on the sale rack, because he's on the sale rack, right? It's like I've always wanted to have a Gucci. I've always wanted to have Gucci slides. You're like, yeah, but they're kind of worn, and that. I don't know. Like, do you need that big Gucci logo? Like, I don't really not into that. Like, I'd rather something super comfortable. Like, no. Some people are this way with like Nike stuff. They'll wear anything Nike. Like, pick the brand and their brand guy.
Mm-hmm. Is that Rob Parker over there? You sound like Rob Parker.
No, Rob puts doesn't he cheap. Doesn't he? Yeah, he goes to like Ross.
And he finds like a Gucci bag for like $99.
Yeah.
It was $1,000.
And then he flips it on his Instagram.
There you go.
No, I'm serious. Like, I'm not like making fun of him. This is like a business model for Rob, and he actually does it.